Welcome to another Lunch and Learn. My name is Amanda Warfield. I'm a simplicity focused marketing strategist and copywriter, and I am on a mission to help course creators, digital product creators, and educators in general make more money in less time by simplifying their marketing. So, we are going to talk today all about how I use Google Analytics because without leveraging Google Analytics in your business, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You're not tracking where it is that you're getting the most bang for your buck with your content. You're not seeing what is actually being looked at on your website. There are a lot of different things that you can do with your marketing thanks to Google Analytics. It helps me come up with new content ideas. It helps me decide where I need to put more of my marketing focus. It is something that I am looking at every single week in my business is my Google Analytics. And today I'm going to take you behind the scenes and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm looking at in my own Google Analytics so that you can take a peek yourself. Now, if you've not set up Google Analytics in your business, I cannot recommend enough that you do that right now. Turn this off, come back to it, hit save for later, and watch it after you've had it set up because even if you don't have the time and capacity right now to use your Google Analytics, you need to have it collecting data for you so that you can then go back and look at that data. If you wait until you're ready, you're not going to have any data to look at. So, that is my recommendation. Your action step for this week, if you will, make sure Google Analytics is set up on your website. And bonus points if you set up a tool like Hotjar or something else like that, that is going to give you a look at how people are scrolling and where they're clicking and all of that. That's really helpful information as well. But if nothing else, set up Google Analytics. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you my Google Analytics. And I'm also going to show you the KPI tracker that I use personally. Let's see. I'm going to first, I'll show you the here we go. So this is my KPI tracker template. You can actually grab this in my shop. The link is in the description if you would like to go ahead and snag one that is already set up for you. But when I'm looking at numbers and data and analytics in my business, there are a few major points that I look at. First and foremost, revenue. I want to know what's bringing in revenue per offer. So in this, I've got a couple of different things, but you can fill this out with however many offers that you have. If you have a membership, if you have a one-to-one offer, if you have multiple one-to-one offers, you can just right click and then insert a row below and add in all of your one-to-one offers. If you have a course or multiple courses, if you have other digital products, speaking, affiliate income, and then other for those things like bundles and things like that. You want to make sure that you are tracking all of the revenue that you're bringing in and what your goal is. If you have a goal for each of them, you may have an overall revenue goal, which you would put here, and then this will be your year to date as well. So you've got all of the months of the year. This is my monthly tracker that I come in and I fill this out once a month. I've got last year's numbers and then I've got this year's numbers and then my goal. Okay, so we've got revenue. First and foremost, where are my numbers? This isn't going to come from Google Analytics. But what I will then do is I will break down by offer these different KPIs. Now, if you have a ton of offers, you cannot physically focus on all of them, right? If you watched the marketing coaching I did with Coley James a couple videos back, you will see that we're talking about, okay, she has a lot of offers. How do we simplify what she's talking about in her marketing at any given time because she has so many offers? Realistically, you should probably pick just a handful of things that you want to really focus on. But depending on what those are, we've got membership broken down into various KPIs in here, one-to-one coaching or another one-to-one offer, courses, and then shop offers. And then after we look at all of those, which I'll look at it a bit deeper in a second, but after we look at all of those, we've also got marketing. So depending on what marketing you're doing, you would add that in here. These are some examples. Maybe you're checking your email list size or how many subscribers you have for your podcast or podcast downloads or your YouTube subscribers or your YouTube watch numbers or your blog analytics, or what was the most looked at blog this month, so on and so forth. And then we've got things like Instagram followers, Facebook, so on and so forth, TikTok, LinkedIn. So you can customize it, but these are some examples of what you might be looking at. Now, some of these we'll look at with Google Analytics, but the main thing I'm really looking at with Google Analytics are within these numbers. So again, we've got revenue and we're tracking our revenue, but then we've got goals. And maybe your goal is to grow your membership this year. So you're going to be looking at how many members do I have? How many new memberships do I have? How many returning? How many canceled? Average gain. But then we're going to look at that sales page view. And that is going to be really important in our Google Analytics. Same thing for coaching. Inquiries, how many did we get? How many sales page views did you get? And then what is that sales page conversion rate? So your service page, we're going to look at service pages as well. Same thing for courses. Sales page views, how many actually signed up? What was that conversion rate? So you want to know what your conversion rate is so you can work on improving it, right? And maybe you look at this and you go, okay, well, my conversion rate's 50%, but I'm just not getting that many views. Okay, so then well, I need to then look at how am I getting people onto my sales page? Similar thing with all your shop offers. How many people purchased, how many views on that page, etc. So one of the things I'm really looking at when it comes to my Google Drive is the different pages, and I'll show you how to look at those. But then I'm also looking at where do people come from and where's my traffic coming from? That's another thing we'll talk about. But if we know, okay, I need to just get more people on my sales page, what is your growth marketing? And I've got some videos on growth marketing and I've got a whole playlist on it that you can look at now. But basically, growth marketing is how you're getting in front of new people. And so then you also want to use Google Analytics to see what's working. We'll look at that too. So, okay, we're going to sharing this, and then I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to look at my analytics. All right, so this is the homepage when you go to your analytics. And I have recently accessed suggested for you, things like that. We're going to pretend those are not there. But once you start looking at these things, you'll be able to really easily go, oh, let me just look at this real quick. So first things first, we're going to go to reports. And then we're going to go to page. We're going to click, under life cycle, under engagement, and then under pages and screens, you're going to click that. Now, let's look at the month of April, let's say, for myself. So you're going to come up in this top right corner, figure out the dates. Sometimes I look at it by week, sometimes I look at it by month. It just depends. But we're going to look at, okay, here are all of my pages and screens on my website. What are people looking at? Right off the bat, my number one is my challenge, my free challenge, content planning bootcamp, which you can highlight if you're like, I don't even remember what that is. You usually will, but you can copy that and then put it in your own website and so on and so forth. Okay, so I can see right off the bat, that's my number one. That's great. That is one of my biggest lead draw-ins, right? So this is a free challenge and this is how I'm getting leads. I love that this is at the top. My other in my top 10, the social media one is a blog post that every year around Lent it ranks really high on SEO because it's all about giving up my social media for Lent as a business owner, and it just every year gets a ton of views. So that's why that one's so high right now. Typically in other parts of the year, it's not. My homepage obviously is going to be close to the top. That's usually number one, honestly. So it's pretty impressive that this one is above it. Bootcamp is content matching bootcamp. That is also great. That means that is a sales page that is getting views, 100 views, which means I can really look at this and go, okay, how many sales did I get? What's my conversion rate? And that's a great number for that. Now, here's something that's very, very interesting. And as you build out your your funnels and your offers, this is what you're going to want to really be paying attention to. So we've got Content Planning Bootcamp. This is how many people, 288 in the month of April, landed on that landing page for that freebie. However, then I look down here and I've got Content Planning Bootcamp Confirmation, which is the page people land on after they've signed up, and only 42. So what is that percentage? We're going to look at that percentage. I say only as if 42 isn't a great number of leads. It's a great number of leads. 42 divided by 288 times 100 gives me a 14.58% conversion rate. Honestly, that's not bad. However, that automatically makes me go, okay, well, I'm getting a good number landing there. 288 is good. How do I improve this so that I get more leads? And so that's how you can use this Google Analytics numbers to go, okay, I've got this and I've got this. That's how many converted. Awesome. What's that number? And now how do I improve? You can do the same thing. You don't necessarily need a confirmation page after single offer. It's great if you do. You don't have to. The more pages you have on your website, once you get past 100 on Show It, it does start to slow it down. So we don't want a ton of pages, but you can use this bootcamp number, 102. I actually don't know off the top of my head how many purchased in April, but I can then take that number and go, okay, I know I had this many sales, which again is why in the KPI tracker template, I have sales and numbers right there so I can do the easy math. But how many sales did I get? How many views did I get? What's my conversion rate for sales? And so you can check that out too. I also have my podcast and the blog. That's great. We want those ranking. This is interesting, 173 too. I'm not even sure which blog that is. I'll have to go check that out and see which one was ranking really well or getting a lot of traction. That's actually not a recent one though, so it must have been ranking really well because we're in the 260s now. So that's over 100 weeks old. So that's very interesting. In April, that one got a lot of traction. Not sure why. And then also my 404 page, which isn't great. I should check out why that is. So this just gives me an overall look at the health of my website, at what is doing well, what's getting traction, so on and so forth. And then you can also search. So something I do is I'll go, okay, I want to know how many people looked at my quiz. 7. Not great. If it's one of my goals to drive traffic to my quiz, I should probably improve that, right? Or I can go, let's see how many people looked at the playbook this month. Okay, not bad, 28. That's a decent amount. I could probably drive more traffic. Let's see a certain episode. Let's look at episode 234. Nothing. That's not great. Okay, let's look at a more recent one. 250. That's a recent-ish one. Nope. I don't know what came out in April. 40? I don't know. Anyways, you can do that with yours. Let's see. You can also... Oh, services page. That's probably a good one. Ways to work together is my services page, my overall services page. And then I can also look at specific ones. You see the shop. Let me look at just service here. So my strategy got 18 views. My VIP day got 2. So, okay, pages and screens. That is something you can check out. Landing page is another one that you can go, okay, where are people landing? Now, Content Planning Bootcamp is not a surprise because I was running ads at this time to it. And Bootcamp also was running ads. Social media, like I said, that blog post always goes crazy. I don't love that the 404 page is a landing page. So that's a problem. I need to look at why that is, right? Okay, so you can look at landing pages and see when people first hit your website, where they're coming. And then acquisition is another one. We want to look at, I can't remember if it's user or traffic acquisition. So user acquisition will tell you direct as people type straight in your website, organic search and social are people that just found you naturally through your Instagram account or some other social account and Google Analytics. But then we've got paid ones. Honestly, both of these, the only ads I ran were Facebook ads. So these are all technically social. And then referral is what we really want to see. So let's go to traffic acquisition. That's not it either. Let me see. They changed this up a lot. Here we go. Okay. Sessions by session source / medium. So when we go to acquisition overview, you want to find this block that says sessions by, and then you hit the drop down session source / medium. So we've got direct, Google, ad, Facebook referral, IG. Let's look at all. If there are people who have found you through, let's see if I can find one. Okay, so we've got Pinterest. Oh, ChatGPT referral. That's interesting. Okay, so Mama Minimalist. So this is a podcast interview I did ages ago. 2 people went from that to my website. We've got Pinterest. We've got Blueberry is my podcast host. We've got virtualsummitsearch.com. We've got Sabrina Gebhardt, which I know is another interview I did. And so I can see the things that are working that are the contract shop, the simplicity habit, all of these different things that have gotten me referrals from other places to my website. And when you note that, you can then go, okay, how do I do more of that? This worked. What was that about? What can I do more of? Maybe I get a lot from a certain guest interview I did. Okay, how do I get more of that? So that's another thing you want to look at. Setting up Search Console is another thing. It's got to be set up outside of, you set up Google Analytics, then you also set up Search Console. But you can see what did really well for you that month. Like I said, social media for Lent in this month, it explodes every time. Let's see. 3 phases of marketing. And you can see your average position. Some of these are like, this isn't helpful at all. Advertising tracking spreadsheet. Now that's interesting. ADHD entrepreneur tips. So you can look at these and go, okay, where did I show up when people typed things in? And then these are what clicked when people searched. So what they searched that you showed up for under queries, under Search Console, and then what people actually clicked. And then you go, okay, again, the Lent one, but time blocking for beginners. And so I can go, okay, I need to go and look at these and make sure that I've got really great calls to actions and that I've got things that are going to generate leads or lead to a sale or something like that on those. Okay, those are the main things that I look at each and every week and every month so that I know what's working in my marketing and what adjustments I need to make. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'll come back and answer them. And if there are other things that you want to see based on how I use analytics and how I use that information to make a plan for my own marketing, let me know. And if you want to grab that KPI tracker template for yourself, the link is in the description and you can snag that and get started tracking all of your analytics today. I'll see you back here next Monday for another Lunch and Learn.